Any economic spending in our economy right now, any government spending is welcome and necessary. So the only questions that we need to ask in and around this package that has been announced by government is who benefits and where benefits. And the question as to who benefits is really concerning, because many ordinary workers and families won't benefit sufficiently from this package. Our carers and people who are providing crucial facilities, those who lost their jobs, won't benefit sufficiently. Our family farmers won't benefit sufficiently. And where benefits? I can tell you, Minister, that my own constituency of Cavan Monaghan won't benefit as much as it should from such a package. And I want to instance particularly the tax rebate, the so-called Stay and Spend initiative by government. And essentially what government have done is take what was a really positive and potentially hugely significant proposal that Sinn Féin brought forward in relation to a voucher scheme and have made it as regressive as possible. It doesn't invest in the businesses that desperately need support right now. And contrary to what the Fianna Fáil speaker before me said, not everybody has the luxury of the TDs in this House and are able to take holidays in August. Many of them simply don't have the money to do so. And many of the businesses that are depending on those type of people investing and spending in their local communities or going on a small family break won't get the benefit from this scheme. Those consumers who can avail of the scheme won't actually be able to get the money back for a full tax year. So if somebody next January goes into a restaurant or goes to stay in a local hotel or in a hotel somewhere else in the state, they won't actually get their money back, their rebate, for another 12 months. That's not stimulating the economy. That in many cases will just put money back into the pockets of people who don't need it as much as our carers, those who lost their jobs and those that I mentioned. Minister, there's a crucial provision in this legislation that needs to be removed if it is going to have an impact in counties like my own of County Monaghan. The reference that businesses who can avail of this Stay and Spend package need to be registered with Fáilte Ireland is crazy stuff. It's absolutely unnecessary and it needs to be reversed. Most businesses in County Monaghan don't and aren't registered with Fáilte Ireland. Fáilte Ireland hardly knows what County Monaghan is in the first place. Why would they hand over €300 to register with them when they're getting absolutely nothing in return? Most of the B&Bs, most of the local restaurants simply aren't registered with Fáilte Ireland, and it is nonsensical and unacceptable that that provision will be put in place as part of this legislation. It serves no purpose whatsoever other than to give Fáilte Ireland a boost. In other words, to hand money out of businesses who can hardly afford it into the hands of that agency. And it's absolutely unfair, and I'm asking you and appealing to you to withdraw that provision from this legislation. Minister, the one area of our economy that doesn't need to be stimulated is demand in housing. Most young people, most families cannot get onto the property ladder at all because demand is too strong and doesn't match supply. The Help to Buy scheme simply will pour oil on the fire of the housing crisis that we already have. If you want to stimulate housing, then you give local authorities money to build houses. That's how we will stimulate their economy in terms of construction sector, and that's how we can actually ensure that young families can afford to buy a home. The provision in this scheme isn't going to work. The VAT reduction from 23% to 21%, of course we always welcome any VAT reduction, but it isn't going to be felt by most consumers because most businesses will just have to soak up any savings in that regard. Reduction for the hospitality sector from 13.5% to 9% would have made a real impact, and we've a motion and an amendment in that regard, and I'd urge the government to support it. Finally, Cathaoirleach, can I say this? The very notion of talking about a stimulus package while removing money from the pockets of those who most need it does not make sense. And to suggest that over the course of this package we will reduce the incomes of people on the pandemic unemployment payment is absolutely crazy. It is austerity at its heart, and it does not make sense. These are the very people who will spend every cent they get. They will actually support the businesses that the government hasn't in this package. And in order to ensure that our economies keep ticking over, in order to support those people who need it most, then the payments for those who have lost their jobs for no other reason other than their employers had to shut down as a result of this pandemic, they need support. And again, I urge a government rethink. Thank you, Cathaoirleach.